active observation has anything to do with what we do when we ascribe reality to what we see, then we can say this observer, who was brought into existence by the universe, has, by his acts of observation, a part in bringing that universe itself into being.
What I'm about to show you will wreck every story you've ever told yourself about reality. Not later, right now. Because the second you get this, nothing about your existence will make sense the old way ever again. Here's what nobody wants you to realize. The world around you. It isn't set in stone, it isn't finished, and it's not sitting there waiting for you to figure it out. Every so-called fact, every situation you're trapped in, every excuse you've ever used. None of it is solid. It's pure, raw potential, suspended in limbo, waiting for you to either wake up and claim it, or drift by and let it rot in the dark. And quantum mechanics has already proved it. And the world still acts like it's a secret. Here's the science. At the smallest scale, reality isn't real. Particles exist in every possible state, like ghosts, until someone pays attention. One act of conscious focus, and the whole field collapses into something you can touch. Your observation isn't just finding out what's there, it's deciding what becomes real, while the rest of your life disappears into nothing. That means right now, infinite versions of you exist, living out every possible story. The one who wins, the one who loses, the one who never tries. But only one version will make it out alive. The one you have the guts to observe over and over until nothing else survives. And here's where most people never escape. They wake up, immediately scan for problems, replay every limit, reinforce the same dead-end story. They think they're seeing reality, but they're just selecting the same nightmare again and again, casting a vote for their prison to stay locked. You want out. Stop pretending you're a passive witness. Every focus is a loaded gun. You are the director, the editor, the only one with a finger on the quantum trigger. Most will click away. Most will retreat to comfort or doubt or noise. But if you're still here, your next act of attention is about to collapse a brand new world. And you'll have no one to blame and no one to thank but yourself. So let's strip away the last excuse. You've heard about the double slit experiment. Maybe you shrugged it off as just another science headline. But here's what you missed. It's not just some quirk of subatomic particles. It's a mirror for every choice you make. In the experiment, a particle travels through two slits. Unobserved, it acts like a wave, everywhere at once, infinite outcomes superimposed. But the instant someone checks, reality snaps to attention. The wave collapses. One path, one outcome, one version of the story, chosen by the observer. Don't kid yourself. This isn't locked away in a lab. It's playing out every second you're alive. Right now, your life is a field of unlimited possibilities. There's a future where you break every pattern, and one where you repeat them forever. There's a timeline where you wake up and change everything, and a dozen more where you never dare to look up. Most people are trapped not because reality is cruel, but because they keep collapsing the same tired pattern day after day with the same unconscious focus. Every morning you reach for your problems. Every time you obsess over lack, failure, or the next disappointment. You're not just noticing what is, you're voting for what will be. Your observation isn't passive. It's the hand that picks which version of you gets to live and which ones stay dead in the quantum graveyard. And here's the part nobody will say out loud. If you don't choose, the world will choose for you. And it never votes in your favor. You want proof? Don't look at a physics experiment. Look at your own history. Why is it that two people can go through the same crisis? Lose a job, get betrayed, hit rock bottom. And one ends up trapped, bitter, circling the same drain, while the other somehow turns it into their launching pad. It's not willpower. It's not luck. It's what each one chooses to observe, over and over, until possibility snaps into reality. One person fixates on loss, relives every mistake, becomes an expert in everything that's missing. Their brain deletes every sign of hope, every path forward, because the observer effect demands loyalty to the lens you use. The other scans for what could emerge, focuses on any crack in the walls, locks onto the faintest whiff of opportunity, and collapses a new timeline into being. You do this too, every single day. Your attention is a spotlight, and everything outside its beam might as well not exist. Ask yourself, what gets your focus on repeat? What stories do you keep collapsing into concrete just because they feel familiar, even when they make you miserable? If you want to change your life, stop chasing new circumstances. Start by hacking your perception. Because until you change what you're willing to see, you'll keep reloading the same level, calling it reality, and wondering why nothing moves. And here's the killer. The field doesn't care if you're right or wrong, optimistic or broken. It only responds to the signal you send, the reality you're willing to notice, and nothing else. If you think this only applies to dramatic moments, think again. Most people don't realize their entire life is running on unconscious loops, stories programmed by family, school, trauma, and every headline screaming for attention. They wake up, check their notifications, scan for problems, replay old anxieties, and call it being realistic. But here's what's actually happening. They're casting the same vote, day after day, for the same reality to persist. Their observer effect isn't broken, it's just been hijacked by habit. It's not that they want to suffer, it's that nobody ever taught them the skill of redirecting perception, of choosing, on purpose, what gets their attention and energy. And here's the collective trap. You're not just up against your own habits. You're living in a world that profits from you being on autopilot. Social media, news cycles, algorithmic feeds. These are machines built to hijack your observer effect, flood your mind with fear, outrage, and distraction, and train you to collapse the same anxious, limited world over and over. Look around. Why do certain memes, stories, and anxieties seem to spread like wildfire until everyone's living in the same low-grade panic? It's the collective observer effect. Millions of people focusing on the same idea, collapsing it into the fabric of reality. And just like that, your potential narrows. Your focus becomes a prison. You live the script handed to you, never realizing you could have written your own. But if you can see this mechanism at work, even once, you're no longer powerless. You can catch yourself in the act, interrupt the loop, and begin, maybe for the first time, to collapse a future you actually want. Most will never notice. But if you do, you'll realize the field was always waiting on you, not the other way around. Here's the part almost nobody gets right. It's not enough to simply wish, to occasionally focus, or to repeat some affirmation you don't believe. The field doesn't respond to scattered signals. It's not reading your words, it's reading your frequency. The deep alignment between what you think, what you feel, and what you actually expect. Think of coherence like tuning a radio. If your station is full of static, mixed messages, contradictory desires, emotional noise, all you get is fuzz, mixed signals, mixed results. Most people want abundance but vibrate with fear. They visualize love, but unconsciously brace for betrayal. They talk about change, but their body is addicted to old emotions, their actions echoing the same worn-out story. The quantum field doesn't judge. It doesn't argue. It simply mirrors back whatever frequency you hold most consistently. So ask yourself, brutally, when you want something, is your whole system in agreement? Or are you at war with yourself, sending out signals for possibility and defeat at the same time? This is why nothing changes for most people. Their desires are a whisper, but their unconscious habits are a shout. If you want to collapse a new reality, you need to become coherent. To line up your thought, your feeling, your expectation, your action, all in the same direction. Because the moment you do, the field has no choice. Reality shifts. New doors open. Old patterns crack. This is where the game changes. Not with force, not with frantic effort, but with a quiet, relentless, inner alignment that refuses to collapse anything less than what you truly want. And here's the punchline nobody can dodge. Your life isn't happening to you. It's happening through you. Everything you see out there is just the echo of what you broadcast. The mirror, not the maker. Most people spend their lives fighting with the reflection. They blame the world, curse their circumstances, chase after new jobs, new partners, new places, never realizing the image in the mirror can only change when you do. Look at your patterns. If you always attract the same chaos, the same disappointment, the same cold shoulder, it's not the world punishing you. It's your own frequency reflected with ruthless precision. This isn't cosmic justice or some moral test. It's physics, nothing more. The field doesn't care about your excuses. It doesn't argue with your story. It just gives you what you're most committed, consciously or unconsciously, to see. Try to manipulate the world from the outside, and the mirror stays the same. Change what you're projecting. Change your frequency, your focus, your expectation. And the reflection has no choice but to shift. The only question is, are you ready to stop wrestling with the mirror and start changing what's behind the glass? Most never will. But if you do, you'll finally see what the reflection was trying to show you all along. You were always the source. You've been raised to believe you're at the mercy of circumstances, that life happens to you, that you're just a bit part in someone else's script, that the real reason your reality won't budge? You're still acting like a victim in your own story, instead of stepping up as the author. Every day you unconsciously choose, am I the effect or am I the cause? Do I blame, complain, explain? Or do I own every outcome, every emotion, every loop I keep replaying? Because the second you shift from, why is this happening to me, to, what am I collapsing into existence right now? Everything changes. You stop pleading for better luck. You stop waiting for someone to rescue you. You realize nobody's coming. It's your awareness, your consistency, your decision to direct the field that writes the next scene. Victimhood is inertia. It feeds the old pattern, props up the mirror, keeps you watching reruns. Creation is momentum. The relentless act of observing what isn't here yet until the world has no choice but to make it real. The field isn't personal. It doesn't care about your guilt or your hope. It cares about who's behind the lens. So, who's running the show? The echo or the origin? The witness or the writer? If you're ready to cross that line, the script is yours to change. Enough theory. If you really want to break the cycle, you need to see where your attention actually lives, not where you wish it did. So do the audit. Not tomorrow, not next week, right now. Ask yourself, when you wake up, what's the first thing you notice? Problems, worries, what's missing? Or do you tune into possibility, even for a second? As you move through your day, where does your focus drift? Back to old grudges? To fears you've nursed for years? To the same unsolvable issues you've been rehearsing in your head since you were a kid? At night, before you close your eyes, what stories are you replaying? Do you fall asleep reviewing what went wrong? Or visualizing a future you actually want to live? Be brutally honest. Because most people spend 80–90% of their mental bandwidth on what they hate, what they lack, what they fear. They don't realize that attention is currency. And they're bankrupting themselves by investing in misery while expecting abundance. This is not self-help fluff. It's physics. Your daily attention is the signal you send to the field. Whatever you focus on, repeatedly, with real emotion. That's what the universe is compelled to make solid. The second you see these patterns, you gain leverage. You create a gap. And in that gap, for the first time, you have a choice. Audit your attention for just one day. See where your real power is leaking out. Most won't. But if you do, you'll see the mechanism exposed. and you'll never be able to lie to yourself again. Here's where almost everyone gets stuck. They try to force change. They obsess, they hustle, they chase, as if sheer effort could bully reality into submission. But the field doesn't respond to struggle. It responds to presence, to the quality of your observation, not the volume of your noise. There's a power most people never tap, the silent observer. It's the part of you that can witness fear without feeding it, hold a vision without grabbing for proof, watch life unfold without panic or pushback. This isn't passivity, it's not giving up. It's the opposite. It's choosing, moment by moment, to watch what you want, with total clarity and zero desperation. Because in the quantum world, waves don't collapse into form because you try harder. They collapse when the observation is clear, the intention is coherent, the attachment is gone. That's why people who obsess over outcomes push them further away. Their signal is frantic, chaotic, scattered. The silent observer, though, they witness with certainty. They're unmoved by appearances, unbothered by delay. And here's the paradox. When you let go of needing a result, the field reorganizes to deliver it. Not because you forced it, but because you finally became the match. This is not spiritual bypass, it's advanced creation. The world bends for those who can see, wait, and hold the vision, without needing the evidence first. Are you willing to drop the chase and step into the only real power there is? But before you congratulate yourself for finally getting it, let's go further. Who, exactly, is doing the observing? Is it your everyday mind? That constant stream of thoughts, judgments, anxieties? Or is there something watching even that? A witness behind the witness, hidden in plain sight? Every time you catch yourself thinking, wow, I always sabotage myself. Who noticed that? Every time you step back from your own story and see your patterns, what is the place you're seeing them from? Here's the plot twist nobody expects. Maybe the observer you think you are, the voice in your head, the identity you wear, the wounded self defending old scars, is just another story, just another character in the dream. Eastern sages have called this out for centuries. You are not your thoughts, not your roles, not even your sense of me. You are the clear sky, the empty space where all this happens. Modern neuroscience is catching up, proving that the brain can observe itself, split into the thinker and the watcher, neither one the real origin. So what if the true observer isn't even in your head? What if it's awareness itself? The field, the canvas, the intelligence that exists before you ever pick up a name, a fear, a story. And here's where reality bends. Maybe your whole personality, your entire sense of identity, is just a filter. Something the real observer uses to play the game, to experience one version of the infinite. But the moment you wake up to this, when you realize the observer is beyond your memories, your habits, your wounds, something cracks. You're no longer stuck in the loops you've inherited. You're no longer just collapsing the next probable timeline. You have access to a vantage point that can rewrite everything. Because when you observe from this deeper layer, free of panic, free of ego, your choices become unlimited. The code becomes visible. And you finally see, the observer isn't inside the story. The story is inside the observer. If this doesn't make your reality flicker for a moment, you weren't paying close enough attention. All right, enough with the philosophy. Let's get real. If the observer is that powerful, if your focus is the code, then you need to test it. Not tomorrow, not someday, now. Here are your cheat codes. Pick one. Go all in. The reality audit. For the next 24 hours, carry a notebook or your phone. Every hour, ask, what am I focusing on right now? Is it what I want or just what I fear? Is it habit or is it choice? Mark every time your attention drifts to complaints, old wounds, self-doubt. Notice how often you collapse the same old story without even trying. The 7-day possibility challenge. For 1 week, train yourself to notice what's working, not what's broken. Whenever you catch your mind replaying the past or scanning for the next disaster, stop. Ask, what else could I observe? What possibility am I ignoring just because it feels unfamiliar? Journal every time you make the switch. Watch what changes. The glitch log. Every time something weird happens, a synchronicity, a coincidence, a problem dissolving just because you stopped obsessing, write it down. These aren't accidents. They're proof the code is bending. The observer experiment. Once a day for 10 minutes, sit and watch your own thoughts. Don't judge, don't get sucked in. Just witness the flow, like traffic on a highway. Notice, who is watching? What changes when you observe your own attention, instead of just being swept away by it? If you actually do this, your reality will shift, not by magic, but by design. And if you want to make it stick, share your results. Drop your breakthroughs and glitches in the comments. This isn't just a video, it's a lab. And every experiment you run is a vote for a new timeline. Most people will never try. They'll watch, nod, and go back to their loop. But if you run the code for yourself, you'll start to realize the only thing ever missing was your own participation. Pause for a second. Ask yourself, was it really just random that you landed here, now, of all times? Was it just the algorithm? Or were you the one pulling the strings the whole time? How many times in your life have you had a coincidence like this? A message that shows up exactly when you needed it. An idea that seems to chase you. A moment of déjà vu that makes you question if you've done this before. What if even this video, this moment, is another ripple of the observer effect? A reality you collapsed into existence the second you started looking for something more. Maybe you thought you were just scrolling. Maybe you thought you were killing time. But if you're still here, maybe your observer already knew what you needed to see. If the universe is a mirror, what does it say that this is what's reflecting back at you right now? Are you still a bystander? Or are you finally catching yourself in the act, choosing right now which world becomes real next? This isn't just a message. It's a signpost. The next move is yours. Let's pull back the curtain one last time. You've heard the pop spiritual takes, and you've seen the social media summaries. But what actually happens in the lab and in the mind when you decide to focus? What's really going on beneath all the metaphors? Modern physics has shown us that reality isn't waiting in the wings, fully formed. At the smallest scale, the universe remains in a state of pure potential, a ghostly blur of possibilities, until observation pins it down. This isn't speculation. Experiments have forced even the most hard-nosed skeptics to admit, measurement isn't just about finding out what's there. It's about deciding what's real from a sea of what could have been. But this principle isn't trapped in particle accelerators. It echoes through psychology and neuroscience too. Your brain is not a camera. It's a prediction engine. It deletes what doesn't match your beliefs. It fills in gaps, highlights patterns, invents narratives. Day after day, you live in a world crafted by the focus you've trained. A world that can't show you what you refuse to see, and can't keep out what you compulsively look for. This is why, no matter how much willpower you muster, you end up reliving the same patterns. It's not just habit or vibes. It's the wiring of attention, sculpting your experience in real time. The research is clear. Your perception isn't just passive. It's an active choice that locks certain doors and opens others, over and over. So when you do the audit, when you challenge yourself to shift your focus, you're not dabbling in New Age fantasy. You're running a real-world experiment on the very machinery that decides what is possible for you. History, psychology, and physics all converge on this brutal but liberating truth. The world you know is just one slice of a much larger field, and every act of attention is a cut, an irreversible choice about what gets to be real. If you want to play it safe, you can keep collapsing the same script. You'll get more of the same, and you'll be right, until you're bored, exhausted, or broken enough to try something new. But if you want to test the edge, if you want to see for yourself whether the field really bends to a new focus, Start tracking. Start experimenting. Dare yourself to notice the glitch, the gap, the sudden change when you become the watcher instead of the puppet. Drop your results below. Turn this channel into a living archive of reality-bending evidence. Because in the end, the proof is never just in the lab. It's in the life you build, and the version of reality you're willing to see. The next move is yours. Let's zoom out, because the observer effect isn't just personal, it's collective. You're not the only one shaping what becomes real. Every day, you're embedded in a web of other people's attention. Family, friends, the news, a million strangers' thoughts stitched together into the story we call the world. Science has a word for this: emergence. When enough individuals focus on the same idea, pattern, or narrative, it becomes real, tangible, unavoidable, far beyond any single mind. It's why financial markets swing on rumor, not just data. Why mass panic or hope can ripple across continents overnight. Why entire generations remember things that never happened, or chase goals nobody questioned until someone changed the script. Think of what trends, memes, and movements do. A phrase, an image, a story takes hold, not because it's the only truth, but because enough people agree to observe it, share it, amplify it. Whole realities, laws, currencies, even nations, are built from the collective observer effect. Consensus is a force of nature. This is why your personal attention isn't just a private choice. It's participation in a global experiment. Every time you join a conversation, spread a story, buy into a narrative, or refuse to question a fact, you're helping to collapse a version of the world into being for everyone. It's no accident that when millions fixate on crisis, crisis multiplies. When millions focus on possibility, new solutions emerge out of nowhere. You're not just observing, you're collaborating, sometimes consciously, usually not, in the ongoing construction of reality itself. So what are you adding to the field? Are you reinforcing the noise, the fear, the default script? Or are you willing to become a disruptive observer, someone who refuses to collapse the world's old wounds, and chooses instead to hold open a space for something better? The moment you see this, you stop being a consumer of reality and become a co-creator, one among billions, with a vote that counts more than you ever realized. Because in the end, the biggest illusions aren't just personal, they're collective. And the only way they change is when enough people stop watching the rerun and start imagining something new. You've experienced this. Why is it that every generation seems convinced their way is just the way things are? Why do cultures clash, not just over beliefs, but over what even counts as real? It's the observer effect, scaled up. A culture is a filter, tuning billions of eyes and ears to focus on certain problems, certain dangers, certain truths, while erasing anything that doesn't fit the dominant lens. History is full of examples. Ideas that were once unthinkable suddenly become obvious, not because reality changed, but because enough people finally dared to observe a possibility their ancestors never saw. Whether it's scientific discovery, social reform, or the rise and fall of empires, the real revolution always starts as a shift in collective attention, a crack in the old filter that lets something new come into focus. Even neuroscience backs this up. Our brains wire themselves to notice what the group notices. If your family, your peers, your nation ignore a problem or possibility, you're statistically less likely to see it, even if it's right in front of you. That's why common sense changes over time. Why yesterday's heresy becomes today's headline. Why real progress so often starts with one stubborn observer who refuses to accept the script. The lesson? If you want to change your world, personal or collective, start questioning the invisible filters. Ask yourself, what are we all agreeing not to notice? What do I refuse to collapse just because everyone else has already made up their mind? Most people never ask. They inherit their reality, defend it, and die believing it was the only one. But the world keeps changing for one reason. Someone, somewhere, watched the unwatchable, saw the invisible, and broke the loop. You could be that observer, for yourself, for your community, for the timeline nobody else sees yet. But let's not kid ourselves. In the modern world, the collective observer isn't just shaped by friends and family, or even by old institutions. Now, it's engineered. Think about it. Every day, invisible algorithms decide what you see, what you miss, and what you believe is urgent. Your newsfeed, your trending topics, your search results, they're not neutral. They're finely tuned levers, nudging your attention toward the stories, emotions, and patterns most likely to keep you scrolling. It's the observer effect, weaponized. Billions of minds nudged to collapse the same reality, one engineered for clicks, controversy, and profit. And the effect is viral. When enough people focus on a crisis, outrage, or trend, that version of the world becomes louder, more real, while everything else, hope, nuance, genuine solutions, gets drowned out, unobserved, effectively erased. This isn't conspiracy, it's design. The tech you use is built to capture your observer, to harvest your attention, and to sell it to the highest bidder. The result? The collective field gets hijacked. Fears multiply, division deepens. Reality becomes a tug of war, not between what's true and what's false, but between which story can capture the most eyes. But here's the opportunity. Once you see the machinery, you're no longer just a pawn. You can step outside the engineered loop, choose to focus on what others ignore, refuse to feed the noise, become a rebel observer in a world addicted to autopilot. Technology isn't destiny. The field is still open, still waiting on conscious attention. But the stakes are higher now, because whoever controls the collective observer shapes the future for everyone. So the next time your feed explodes with panic, distraction, or manufactured outrage, ask yourself, is this my reality or someone else's dream collapsing through my eyes? Choose carefully. The world is watching what you watch. 1. The radical reality audit. What Wheeler, Dispenser, and Neville all agree on. If you want to change your life, you have to see what you're actually observing all day, not what you claim to focus on. Audit challenge. For one day, be ruthless. Every hour, pause and write down, what is my mind feeding right now? What emotion am I rehearsing? What story am I watching? Old pain or new possibility? Dispenser says most people spend 95% of their day on unconscious memorized loops, habits, judgments, anxieties. Jung. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Don't cheat yourself. Log every moment your attention drifts back to old disappointments, stress, doom scrolling, or anything that feels automatic. You'll see how little reality is truly chosen. This is your observer's baseline. Second selector. Switch. The focus ritual. Feynman called the act of observation the only mystery. Every outcome sits in the dark until you pick a target. Selector exercise. The moment you catch yourself replaying an old script, do this. Out loud, ask, what am I about to collapse? More of the same, or something I actually want? Interrupt it physically. Dispenser recommends snapping your fingers, standing up, or doing something unexpected to jolt your system. Then, choose a different action. Text someone you never chase. Walk a street you've never walked. Watch something that challenges your assumptions instead of confirming them. This is not magic. It's a way of collapsing the wave of potential into something new. Feynman. I would rather have questions that can't be answered than answers that can't be questioned. 3. The glitch and synchronicity log. Neville Goddard called these bridges of incidents. Wheeler called them delayed choice realities. Field log. Every time something coincidental, improbable, or just weirdly convenient happens, write it down. Don't judge, just log. You'll start seeing a pattern. The field responds not to your demands, but to your frequency and selection. Dispenser's finding. People who keep glitch synchronicity journals notice the code bending more and their reality accelerates faster. 4. The coherence check. Emotional field alignment. Dispenser, Feynman, and every serious experimenter will tell you the field doesn't care about your words. It reads coherence. How to check for coherence. Sit still for 90 seconds. Hold a clear outcome in mind, something you want, but usually doubt. Scan your body, like a scientist. Are your gut, heart, and head all on board? Or do you feel tension, doubt, old emotion? Feynman. The first principle is that you must not fool yourself, and you are the easiest person to fool. If you feel a no, breathe it out. Don't fight, just realign. Only act on intentions when you feel the click, when your whole system is in tune. This is what Neville called feeling the wish fulfilled. It's the only language the field responds to. 5th, the mirror feedback test. Zen, Jung, and Neville all say the same thing. Reality is the mirror. The field is always precise, never personal. How to test the mirror. Pick one area where life isn't moving. Love, work, health, money. For 24 hours, instead of fixing it, just track your internal state every time you interact with it. Jung. The world will ask you who you are, and if you don't know, the world will tell you. Notice how your baseline, tension, hope, resentment, excitement, is mirrored by events, reactions, or even the tone of others. Neville. Don't try to change the reflection, change the image in the glass. If you don't like what you see, shift your baseline. Watch what happens. 6. The silent observer ritual. Every tradition says this is the secret layer. Watch the watcher. Once a day, sit and just observe your thoughts, like clouds passing. Don't try to stop them. Just become aware of the awareness behind them. Zen. Who is the one who notices the thought arise? Jung. Who looks out through your eyes when you're not busy defending your story? In that silent gap, old loops lose their grip. The field becomes fluid. 7. Advanced, collective field hack. Wheeler and Jung both insisted, the observer effect isn't just personal, it's collective. Experiment. For 3 days, track not just your own attention, but what's dominating everyone's focus. News, memes, anxieties, even hope. Notice if your mood, luck, or circumstances start to sync with the field of the people around you. Dispenser and ancient traditions both found the crowd's emotion can be contagious, but it can also be redirected by a single clear observer. Try this. When a group is anxious or negative, hold a calm, coherent intention. See if you can shift the room, first subtly, then openly. 8. The field log. Audit, action, archive. Keep all your experiments and logs in one place. Field audit. Attention tracking, baseline emotion, what's collapsing now. Selector actions, micro changes, different votes. Glitch log, synchronicities, anomalies, code bends. Coherence checks, body scan notes, moments of alignment. Mirror feedback, what the world is reflecting. Collective field notes, how mass attention shapes your experience. Why? Over time, you'll see that reality isn't theory. It's testable, trackable, and hackable once you stop making it abstract. You're not here by accident, and you're not powerless. What you run in your field, you create. What you log, you control. What you align, you collapse. Pick one of these practices and run it. Really run it for a week. Post your most shocking result or your field glitch in the comments. Not just for the algorithm, but as proof you're an active participant, not just an audience. If you want next-level tools, Jungian shadow hacks, group field rituals, Wheeler's delayed choice experiments you can run at home, subscribe or watch for the next video. The field is always listening, What are you choosing to show it? You want a new reality? You don't get it by watching, you get it by hacking the field now. Let's run the code. 1. The radical reality audit. Don't trust your memory. Don't trust your ego. Track yourself like you're running a field experiment for Nobel Prize stakes. Set an alarm for 3 times today. When it goes off, write, what are you actually observing? Is it the loop or the opening? Are you in control, or did the world pick your story before you got out of bed? Dispenser. 95% of your day is on unconscious, memorized loops, habits, judgments, anxieties. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. If you catch your attention drifting to old pain, doom scrolling, comparison, mark it down. Don't judge. Just see how rarely you choose. This is your field's baseline. It's the first code to break. 2. Select a switch, the focus ritual. If you catch yourself spiraling into the usual drama, interrupt, hard. Out loud, what am I about to collapse? More of the same, or something I actually want? Snap your fingers, stand up. Feynman, you are the easiest person to fool. Do something that breaks the code. Text someone new, walk the long way. Listen to music you'd never choose. Every micro-choice is a loaded field instruction. The field does not care about your intention, only your selection. 3. The glitch and synchronicity log. Don't dismiss weird. That's the field waving at you. Every time something bends the code, an unexpected kindness, a friend showing up out of nowhere, a repeated number, write it down, right now. Neville Goddard. Bridges of incidents are the field rerouting to match your inner shift. Wheeler. Delayed choice proves your attention can reach backward through time and alter the outcome. Dispenser's data. People who log glitches notice more. Their field shifts faster. Your log isn't woo, it's proof. 4. The coherence check. Emotional field alignment. The field isn't waiting for your words, it's waiting for coherence. Sit, breathe, and hold the thing you want, without apology. Scan your body. Is there a fight? Is your jaw tight, your stomach knotted, your heart pounding with dread? Feynman. Don't fool yourself. The field only responds to the real signal. If you find conflict, don't argue. Breathe. Bring the tension into awareness. Let it soften before you act. Neville. Feel the wish fulfilled. When your system clicks, even for a moment, the field is already listening. 5th, the mirror feedback test. Stop fighting with life. It's just reflecting you. Pick one stuck area: love, money, health. For 24 hours, track your state, not what you want, but what you're radiating. Jung. The world will ask who you are. If you don't know, it will tell you. Neville. Don't try to change the mirror, change the face you show. If your environment pushes back, check your broadcast. Shift it. Watch what returns. 6. The silent observer ritual. Once a day, become the watcher, not the thinker, not the fixer. Sit, close your eyes, and just observe thought like weather. Don't get hooked. Zen. Who is the one who notices the thought arise? Jung. Who looks out when you're not defending your story? Let the urge to act pass. That's your field resetting. In this silence, new options show up, options your ego couldn't see. 7. Advanced, collective field hack. The observer effect is contagious. Wheeler and Jung. Your focus, multiplied by a crowd, changes history. For 3 days, when you're with a group, silently hold one intention. Let this room feel safer. Let clarity ripple out. Don't say a word. Just do it. Dispenser. The most coherent mind shifts the whole field. Notice the subtle shifts. Conversation gets lighter, arguments diffuse. Someone says what everyone was afraid to say. One coherent observer bends the collective code. 8. The field log. Audit, action, archive. You are not just a consumer of hacks. You are a researcher. Keep your logs. Field audit. Attention tracking, mood, what's collapsing now. Selector actions. Every micro change, every time you chose against habit. Glitch log. Evidence the field is moving. Coherence checks. Body signals, moments of click. Mirror feedback. External responses to your state. Collective field notes. What shifted in groups. Over time, you'll see reality isn't just theory. It's testable, trainable, healable. This isn't about thinking positive or wishing hard. It's about turning your daily life into a quantum experiment. Run one of these practices for a week. Share your most shocking result or field glitch in the comments. If you want to go deeper, Jungian shadow field work, group rituals, Wheeler's delayed choice at home, subscribe or keep watching. You're not here to watch. You're here to code. Observe what you most want to see. Hold it longer than your fear. When you collapse the new outcome, don't just celebrate. Teach someone else how to do it. The field always listens. What are you about to show it next? Don't let this just be another thing you watched. If the observer effect hit you, or if you cracked even a tiny pattern, call your shot below. Comment your favorite observer theory, your weirdest field glitch, or drop your own slogan for this new reality. I am the creator of my own reality. If you want more hands-on fieldwork, group rituals, newsletter-only cheat codes, deep dive experiments, subscribe below. It's free. Hit like if this made you catch yourself observing. Don't leave your observer experiment here. There's a full playlist waiting. Click through and see how far the rabbit hole goes. Remember, most people watch. A few become the observer. Which one are you?